advertising and what it brings to your product or service, right? So the social media advertising, especially on Facebook ads, which is what we're going to go over right now, has to do with online purchases. It allows people to shop now. It can create more in-store foot traffic. You can get directions to where you're going to go to the brick and mortar store. And for some businesses, this is important. You can offer coupons and promos, right? You can say, hey, if you use um, the following promo, New Year 2021, then you can get a coupon. It also allows for product exploration primarily, right? You're going along your feed, you see a new product, you're like, oh, that looks interesting, and you click on it to look at the landing page. It also helps set up email and remarketing. Remarketing is like you get someone's email, you can see from Facebook that they have looked at your product, and you can start throwing ads at them, not just on Facebook, but in other areas because you have their email. So do you ever notice that when like you're going to buy a car and you go to Toyota and you look at the new Leaf, or not the Leaf, but Nissan, and you look at the new Leaf, that you start seeing ads in Huffington Post or whenever you're traveling around in other areas of the internet? That's because of remarketing, right? So they have your email, they upload it, and then when the browser sees that you are online looking at a Huffington Post article, it throws you an ad for that Nissan Leaf. So that's how that works. And that can be important. But just on Facebook, let's take a look at how that works. Mainly, what I want to talk about first is the customer journey. Um, Awareness is one of the biggest things about social media advertising. It's really cheap when you think about it. It can cost 50 cents, it can cost a couple dollars, but social media advertising is relatively cheap for the amount of eyeballs that see it. It allows for research. The customer may want to start researching what you've got going. It also provides an area for pre-purchase, which is basically like, how do I buy? How would I pay? A lot of times in my business, when people call me, they ask me how they pay. Even though it's all over my website, they want to know. Can I pay by Venmo? Can I pay by check? Or do you have Square so that I can pay by credit card? People are really concerned sometimes about how they pay. So you want to answer that question, and Facebook ads can give you that opportunity. The purchase point is another part of the customer journey. Like, have you made it pain free, basically? Have you made it easy to buy something? That's going to be a main part of advertising as well. But also, social media ads can help with retention because you can provide your newsletters to current customers by just throwing up their emails into a database. And then when they're scrolling along, they can see sponsored ads with your content. Even if you don't want them to buy something or you just want to keep them in the fold, you can use it for retention. So these are a couple ideas to think about with social media advertising. Your social media advertising should always include, and even your content should always include your identity, right? How are you branded? Are you staying on brand, right? What's the reward? What are people going to get out of the content that you're providing, whether it's an ad or whether it's a post? We need to be careful about our tone, right? There's too many companies like United Airlines that were tone deaf on Twitter, for instance, after that guy got drug off the plane. Those are the kind of things, and I'm sure they've apologized for that since. But the tone deafness is something to be careful of. So we need to be careful about our tone and what voice we're using, right? And then what's your call to action? Are you asking them to buy now? Are you asking for their email? Are you asking them to come to the store? Be really thoughtful about what you're asking them to do because consumers need to be educated about what the next step is, and you need to tell them really, really clearly. And then we need to be clear about our metrics, right? What's our CTR or click through rate? What are the impressions? How many people are seeing your ad? And what's the cost to acquire that customer? You might have 5 different people that see your ad before one clicks on it, right? So it might cost you $20, but if your product is a $500 product, so you don't care about a $20 fee, right? So you want to look at metrics. Here's a couple examples that I've done. This is an example of boosting where I took a recovery center that I work with and we had a video and I took a look at if I did 6 posts and boosted them for 4 days each and 24 days running and had a $3,000 budget at 125 a day, I might reach close to 1 million people in the end. And that's an interesting strategy to look at, right? So boosting doesn't cost very much and it can get you a lot of views. Here's another one that I did with a local lumber store where California cities that were affected by wildfires last year, we targeted those with a special coupon for cabinets. And it worked really, really well because we were able to get to that geographic level and demographic and just hit like Santa Barbara or Napa Valley. Just to get an idea of how they're made, you've got the system in there where you can put in the picture, write the text, and it tells you how many people it might reach or how many people it has reached, and you can have them call now. Here you can see the highlighted area down here, and that has to do with text that might be outside of the amount of room there is on an ad, right? So we can get an image from either their stock photography or do our own. We can target it to Santa Barbara right here and what language, and put a phone number in for people to call, and then decide what the budget is. Here I did just $5 a day, and the ad has been really successful. And they estimate between 7 and 40 clicks a day, which has worked out really well. All right, and then finally, you can also see how it looks on Instagram. And that's a big help, and that's one of the big benefits about Facebook ads is that you can do both at the same time. And one may end up being better than the other, depending on the demographic, but Facebook ads is a really good deal for what you get.